Half a year ago, we traversed to the lore of Luigi's mansion, and whether or not the portrait ghosts were humans or simply manifestations of magic. However, during this journey, I couldn't help but shake the feeling that regardless of what the answer was, I felt horrible about turning these ghosts back into paintings. And, because of that, I wanted to dive a bit deeper into all of it, with a focus on one character in particular, Professor E. Gadd. Now, Professor E. Gadd has been all sorts of helpful in many Mario games, from providing us with sword inventions in Superstar Saga to creating our one tool to freedom in Super Mario Sunshine. But even with how helpful he is, I can't shake the feeling that there is something quite strange about him. Is it possible that E. Gadd is actually evil? Hear me out on this. Perhaps evil may be too strong of a word. But then again, perhaps it isn't. Now for all this, E. Gadd's morals are what come into question. While majority of the time in Luigi's mansion, E. Gadd came across as super helpful, it's really what's happening behind the scenes that really bothers me though. Hypothetically, if the portrait ghosts were human at some point, why did E. Gadd feel empowered to seal them inside his collection of paintings? Now, we know some ghosts enjoy this environment inside the painting, but not all of them do. In fact, it comes across as very prison-like to some. Furthermore, because he simply feels it's okay to sell them off, he really doesn't care for them and has no problem seeing them as junk needing to be sold. When he switches labs between Luigi's Mansion and the sequel Dark Moon, it shows that this collection wasn't really that important after all. But this is only the beginning of his questionable deeds. In Super Mario Sunshine, we have more kindling to add to the fire, and that comes in the form of Bowser Jr. Now, Bowser Jr. wields a magical paintbrush that was created by none other than our quirky scientist, E. Gadd. Many people simply believe that Bowser Jr. stole this paintbrush from him, but I don't think this was the case at all. Bowser Jr. says, "A strange old man in a white coat gave it to me," and then Flood responds, confirming it was probably E. Gadd. Although Bowser Jr. is causing havoc, he seems to be acting purely in accordance to what he believes is right. There's a strong chance he didn't steal the brush because of this. Since he feels he was in a position of righteousness by saving Mama Peach, it makes more sense that he didn't steal the brush. In his eyes, he is the hero of this situation, so the righteous hero probably wouldn't think of stealing. He has no reason to lie. But that makes you wonder why E. Gadd would randomly give such a destructive and unsafe tool to a mere child, and to a miniature Bowser at that. After all the fake Bowser problems in Luigi's Mansion, and simply from probably hearing many tales about Bowser across the Mushroom World, it seems completely opposite of what you would expect E. Gadd to do. Through a dialogue exchange in the game, we are able to determine that Super Mario Sunshine does indeed take place at the Luigi's Mansion. Otherwise, Mario would have not given this person a weird look. So why would E. Gadd purposely stir up trouble when he just got done helping Mario? Why would he purposely give this destructive tool to Bowser Jr.? Not only does it have the power to alter the landscape, but it can create teleportation portals, objects, and even enemies. With this brush, Bowser Jr. was able to create a slew of baddies, and even create a doppelganger of King Boo, whom explodes into pain upon his demise. On top of this, E. Gadd even leaves Flood for Mario at a predetermined location. Why does all of this seem fishy? As if it was all set up on purpose. Was Super Mario Sunshine just one big experiment for E. Gadd? By releasing a brush of ultimate destruction and creative potential, and then planting the one tool that can stop it, it wouldn't be too far of a stretch to say that it may have just been one of E. Gadd's off-kilter experiments. However, how many people were harmed in this process? Was it really all worth it? And of course, this begs the question, why? Something else that is interesting is the fact that in Superstar Saga, E. Gadd developed a new invention called the Ghost Gown. This gown allows the wearer to be partially transformed into a ghost. Now, this may seem a tad harmless, but who's to say this technology couldn't be used to turn everyday humans into paintings? If forced into a ghost form, these people would be susceptible to being turned into paintings after being vacuumed up. The only way to reverse this process would be to send them through the Ghost Portrificationizer, or with the Dark Light device from Dark Moon, which makes it so that only E. Gadd would be able to free them. All these situations are only a sliver away of being a possibility, if E. Gadd were to truly snap and go full-blown mad scientist. E. Gadd seemed to have no quarrels with random experiments that disregard the safety of others. From sending people through time unsafely, to building robotic copies of people and pitting them against their real-life counterpart. At the end of the day, he seemingly doesn't care about anything except the results of his experiments, despite how jolly he appears. He's always willing to help, but it seems that this willingness is always twofold, so he can get something out of it. His intentions are hard to figure out, but he's pretty much teetering on the edge of the chaotic scale in terms of where he falls in the realm of character alignment. Perhaps one day, he will finally snap for good, and throw the entire mushroom world into disarray. But that's enough rambling from me on this subject. As always, your thoughts are just as important, so I'd love to hear your take on all of this. Do you think Gadd is good, simply neutral, or potentially a villain at heart? What do you think Gadd's reasoning is for some of the things in this video? And finally, if you had a magic paintbrush that could alter reality, what would you use it for? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And with that, thanks for tuning in to this dark spectacle of a quirky scientist. If you'd like to join me on my YouTube voyage and help us solve the mysteries of the mushroom world, then the subscribe button is just what you're looking for. Thanks for watching, guys and gals, and until my next video, cheers. You've made it to the end of the video, but wait, your quest isn't over yet. If you haven't checked out my previous video about Luigi's mansion and what the portrait ghosts are, I highly recommend checking it out if you enjoyed this video. In it, I go a little more in depth about the lore of the portrait ghosts, and whether or not they were once human or just dark manifestations of magic. If you're looking for some more dark Mario theories, you could also give my video about Smithy from Super Mario RPG a whirl. In that video, I discussed why Smithy could very well still be alive, and potentially be planning a counterattack. As always, there's a slew of other videos on my channel too, so regardless, I hope you enjoy. Oh magical paintbrush, the secrets you hold, the secrets you hold.